Well, folks, guess what? It's that time of year, and this is our best of 2024 part one. As usually, all the time, I can't remember. It's two parts. This is part one. Some really fun stuff in here. Thank you to all of you who listen to the show, who support us either just by listening or on the Patreon, patreon.com/late night. There is a video episode of this week. I want to give a special shout out to Rich, who edits all of our video clips. He's been an instrumental part of our team this year. And I just want to give him a special shout out at the beginning of this episode because he's the best. All right, enjoy this episode, and we'll see you next week for Best of Part 2.
Well, I don't know about you, Brian, but I'm in a terrible mood.
Oh, I'm always in a great mood. I'm just sitting here. I've got a nice cozy mug of coffee.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's a piss shandy. It's a piss coffee shandy. This is my drink that I drink in December. It's really rather good once you get used to it, which takes a few decades. Now, lest people think I'm a maniac, I want to be clear about this. You put in, it's like 2 fingers of piss and then no coffee.
Is fingers in this situation the same as like a finger of whiskey, or is there a different meaning here?
I don't think I need to elaborate on this. Yeah, it's just two fingers of piss, which is also how you get the piss.
It sucks.
Right? Using your
Don't
piss
do
fingers.
that.
It's your
Don't
piss
do
fingers.
that.
You don't know
Stop.
about piss fingers? Oh, wow. Maybe it's a generational thing? I don't know.
Is this like a Christmas tradition?
My piss shandy? Yeah.
No, the piss fingers. It's like Elf on a Shelf, but
It's not a Christmas tradition, but it is a tradition.
okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, I have dedicated fingers for many different things. These are my piss fingers. This one here, can I get this one up? Yeah, that's my writing finger. This is my gesturing finger. When I point at people, I do it with my pinky. You over there. Hand me that piss. Stuff like that.
I like the pinky is the one that's least offensive to the widest range of cultures.
That's right.
And I like that your writing finger implies that you're doing this.
Yeah, of course. I know how to hold a pen. And this is my thumb, which I use to mainly give thumbs down to people. Occasionally a thumbs up.
Right.
Like to the clips we're about to hear in this Best of 2024 episode.
Whoa, hold on. Thoughts on Piss Nog? I know you got your shandy.
It seems like a nice guy. I think pretty good at his job. I do wish he would kind of dial it back a little bit. I feel like the gimmick is strong. We get it. You know, you're making the piss nog every year. I think it's a little bit much to subsume your entire identity into piss nog, but seems like a good dude.
Good old Piss Nog. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows when you've stumbled to the bathroom in the middle of the night.
Because you drank too much piss. I think Piss Nog sounds like the name of an Uruk-hai, right, from Lord of the Rings.
You're so right.
Yeah. Piss Nog, get over here. Yes. Well, the tasty hobbits. That kind of thing.
Generally, are you pro eggnog?
I fucking hate it. No, eggnog
Really?
is the kind of, yes, I hate it. But well, I don't like cinnamon. Recall, I don't like cinnamon. I don't
You
like
don't have
nutmeg.
to put cinnamon
I don't
and
like
nutmeg in
but
it.
it often comes with that. I don't like holiday spices, and I'm not even entirely sure what's in eggnog. Except every time I've tried to drink it, like I like the idea of it. It looks good. It's nice and creamy, but also seems like it has a bunch of raw eggs in it. Who wouldn't want to drink that? And so I remember for many years I would see eggnog around this time of year. I'd be like, yum, I'll try that. And I always hated it. So I'm not an eggnog person. And I think it's less because of the milk and the eggs or whatever the fuck is in eggnog, and more because of the spices.
That's so strange.
What about you? Do you like eggnog?
That's so surprising to me because I think that eggnog is the beverage that compositionally is most similar to mayonnaise.
I agree with you. That sounds right. It's close to an emulsion.
Yeah. I don't know. I like nog. I won't get it because I live alone and I cannot possibly. Like, if they did a half and half carton of eggnog.
They do, don't they? Yeah, they do.
I don't know.
You can make, even if they don't, they do at least like a quart of eggnog. I trust you to get through a quart of eggnog.
I don't know if I can crush that nog.
Do you? You're coming over for Christmas Eve. Do you want us to get some eggnog for you?
I would drink some nog.
You would? Do you put like alcohol in it?
I'd be willing to give it another shot. The times that I've done nog plus whiskey or whatever, it's kind of like ruining both simultaneously.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I do wonder. It's like I don't like White Russians either as much as I want to.
Yeah. I should know the answer to this, but if you put sperm in eggnog, do you make a baby? Seems like yes. You got to admit it seems like yes. At the very least, you got to admit that's a good question.
If you've been very good this year for the piss nog, then maybe. Mm-hmm. If there were a Christmas song about piss nog.
Yeah, it's like it rhymes with Yule log, right?
Right.
The piss nog on the Yule log. Wearing my togs.
Playing with pogs.
Playing with pogs. Yep. It's a millennial Christmas. This is a good idea. Millennial Christmas.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm not going to come up with any suggestions. Just everyone think about it, and it's probably really funny in your head.
I have to, speaking of Christmas, good commentary and good suggestions from people on last week's episode for the Stephen King Christmas songs. I thought people had some very good points that I wish we had addressed.
Yeah, a lot of them were really obvious, too. Like the fact that Grandma got run over by a reindeer is 1,000% Christine. So
this is the one that I was thinking about, because when I forget who said it first, I think a couple people said that, and I was like, yes, obviously, that's the right one.
We were too focused on the animal element of it, animals out of control.
Yes, and less on the running people over.
Yeah, which more Christmas songs should be about running people over.
Yes. Oh,
what's the holiday season without vehicular manslaughter?
That's exactly right. It's like, ho, 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 bam.
I love that in a movie or a TV show, if you ever see a car whose horn is like La Cucaracha, that car is going to crash.
Like, yeah, that's right.
It's objectively funny. I literally watched a video of a car with that going really fast over a hill and then crashing into a tree yesterday. It's something about car crashes. It's just really, really funny to me.
Well, that's why we've been doing this show for 4 years.
Yeah, one long slow motion car crash.
Yeah, actually, so the slow motion thing reminds me. I was just thinking as I was taking a sip. I love it, and Letterman is like the absolute master of this. Is when talk show hosts. Let's see, which side should I do this on? Over here. Do a real slow sip where they're like,
It's the face afterwards too.
Yeah, it's like that face that says like, "Da fuck."
I can't get visions of Pissnog the Christmas Gremlin out of my head.
Pissnog. Okay, that's our Christmas song. Pissnog the Christmas
Gremlin.
Is it Gremlin? Gremlin's really good. I feel like it's Gremlin.
Pissnog the Christmas Goblin kind of rolls off the tongue.
That's what I was looking for there, Goblin. Because I think it's Nog. Nog seems like a goblin-y suffix.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Pissnog the Christmas Goblin. Honestly, Layton, that is a winner of a song idea, which I might have to write now.
Leave your cups of piss out overnight.
Yeah, for Pissnog. Yeah, the Christmas and what does he leave? So you leave him a cup of piss. And what does Pissnog leave you? I mean, presents? But it's got to be a specific...
He leaves you eggs. Raw eggs. Raw,
unshelled. No. Mm-hmm. Raw shelled eggs.
But if you're bad, the eggs are broken.
Not feeling the eggs thing.
Okay.
I think we can top it.
Well, I mean, it could be not that you leave out cups of piss, but that for him to drink, that he leaves his piss, but his piss is eggnog?
Okay, that's what it is. Yeah, so you leave him $2.57 in cash, and he gives you a cup of his eggnog piss, which you drink while toasting to Pissnog, the Christmas Goblin.
He pisses eggnog. It's straight up eggnog.
Yeah, exactly. We're on the same page here. That's right.
Okay. I would say that this year, though, probably you're going to need to leave like an extra quarter to account for inflation.
Well, inflation, of course. Well,
Piss Nog's gotta live.
Didn't start 257.
You used to be able to get Piss Nog piss for 5 cents on the dollar.
Minimum. Back in the day, it was like a shilling.
Flip him a nickel.
Yeah.
Oi.
Merry Pissmas.
Oi, somebody give me some coins for my piss.
That, first of all, good accent. Second of all, Merry Pissmas. How had I not heard anyone say Merry Pissmas? Well, you didn't react to it when I said it before, but that's how this song ends, right? Merry Pissmas. That's what Piss Nog says, right?
Fuck the rest of this episode. Let's just run with this.
Honestly, I'm strongly considering pulling up a keyboard here and just writing this right now. Every year on Christmas Eve, with friends and family near, there comes a little goblin guy to fill our hearts with cheer. Oh, Piss Nog, piss your piss for me. Load my mouth and quench my thirst with your delicious pee. People all around the world, from Tokyo to Turin, all gather round to guzzle down his warm, distinctive urine. Piss Nog, piss your piss for me. Leave a nice hot mug of piss beneath the Pissmas tree. Piss Nog, piss your piss for me. Yum, 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 yummy pee. Piss Nog, piss your piss for me. I'll wait beneath the mistletoe for you to piss kiss me. Merry Pissmas!
Okay, what's the Hallmark Christmas movie version of Piss Nog? I got to show Aaron and Susie had seen it, but I got to show Aaron the Ron Howard How the Grinch Stole Christmas the other week,
which I still haven't seen.
Oh my god, we have to watch it. Mm-hmm. I think Audrey would love it. It's so dumb. It's also so great where it's like, oh my god, everything is a real bespoke physical prop. There's prosthetics, there's costumes. Like, this is all real stuff. Mm-hmm. Anyway, but I think that Piss Nog the Christmas Goblin would fall into the Grinch category of, like, this is a movie about a weird little guy learning the meaning of Christmas.
Oh, see, I thought he was going to be like here's what I thought you were going with this. Piss Nog is in a rocky relationship, right? With what Piss Nog we're going him for Piss Nog here? I think so, right?
Sure,
Does that seem right? Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, we can remain agnostic, but we're going to say he. So Piss Nog has been with his longtime girlfriend. They've been engaged for about 3 years. And when you meet Piss Nog and his girlfriend, Stacy, that it's not going well. Like, they feel kind of an obligation because they've been together so long to be engaged, but they're not setting a date. Neither one is really into it. Okay.
They're annoyed with each other over petty domestic disputes.
All the time,
over
squabbling.
Which way the toilet paper is on the roll.
Yeah, and they have real affection for each other, but it's clear they shouldn't be together, right? Yeah. So they go back to the town they both grew up in, right?
Oh.
They're high school sweethearts, right? No, community college. They're community college sweethearts. And they go back to the town they grew up in, right? And they rekindle. So they start hanging out with high school and community college friends, and they kind of rekindle these friendships. And in the process, they split off to hang out with their different friend groups. Because, by the way, they were in very different kind of social strata in high school. Piss Nog was fucking cool, quarterback
was
of the
Piss
Piss team. Yes, that's right. He was quarterback of the foot team, right? So we're going to throw a foot. No, it's too much. I could tell from your face. It's too much. Dial it back, Brian. Dial it back. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. Piss Nog was a very cool kid in community college. Okay. Right. And Piss Nog, popular, attractive, like all this stuff. Stacy was a theater kid and not unpopular, but not super popular. She wasn't like some, outcast, just a different group. Right. But Piss Nog was like kind of on the top of the social hierarchy, and Stacy was somewhere in the middle. So anyway, they connect back with some friends. It's been a while. They haven't been home in a while because of piss COVID. So they go back home and they see a bunch of friends.
Because of coronavirus.
Okay, very good. Yep. Eurona 69. They go back and they rekindle.
Almost a piss take.
Did you say
what I said? Piss take.
That wasn't on purpose?
You got piss on the
We
brain.
did it,
What can I
folks.
say?
Shut it down. Episode's over. We're not gonna top that.
Wow.
I really thought you did that on purpose.
No.
Fantastic. Okay. Anyway, please just let me get through this. They go back to their hometown where they went to school together. We'll just say school. And they start hanging with these friends again, and they realize that there's someone else that they should be with. And they're not cheating because they're honorable people, but they're vibing with other people there. Right. And the movie is them coming to terms with the fact that they need to break up. So they're not going to cheat on each other, but it's this journey of, when friends and family and coming home for Pissmas makes you realize that your life is not going the direction you want it to, and you need to make a change. And at the end where this ends is they're asking the other people out on for Pooh Year's Eve.
My God. Oh.
On these dates. Yeah.
I was about to say this is terrible, but you saved it with Pooh Year's Eve.
Yep. So it's a little this your grandmama's Pissmas movie.
Yeah. What is this? Directed by Noah Baumbach.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. What would this be called if it was directed by Noah Baumbach? What are the Noah Baumbach movies? Squid and the Whale.
Marriage Story.
Married? Really? I forgot
Isn't
about
he?
that. Plausible.
Barbie?
Plausible. Noah Baumbach didn't direct Barbie. Greta Gerwig.
Well, it was Greta
directed.
Gerwig and Right. Am I making that up?
No, they co-wrote it, I think.
Okay. All right. Yeah, written by. All right. Now, see, where I thought you were going with this is the classic Hallmark Christmas setup of it's the same relationship between Pissnog and Stacy, but Stacy is a city girl working on her career.
Okay.
And they go back to Pissnog's
this.
hometown, and Pissnog runs into a girl that he knew in high school who used to have glasses and be ugly, but now she's an adult and a hotter. And she's like,
I like
hey,
this.
Pissnog, haven't seen you around in a while. And he's like, oh, haha. And then basically, the narrative is tacitly being it's fine to cheat on your boring girlfriend, whatever.
Oh, I like this
because
too,
you've
sure.
Reunited with your high school sweetie.
Yes, and it's Pissnog realizing that he's Polly is the story here. The big
Pissnog's Polly
cathartic
Christmas.
moment. Yeah. Pissnog's very Polly, a roly poly Christmas.
Underneath the pistletoe.
Yeah, see? Anything replace the word Chris with piss and you've got it.
Put the piss back in Christmas.
Yeah.
It's the dumbest bit we've ever done, and also I
think it's really good.
Glowing with pride.
We're 20 minutes into this best of 2024 episode, and we have not come close to discussing the show or a clip.
We didn't do it last year, and last year's best of is one of my favorites. So I think the less we speak of it, the better.
What I like
Tame
about when I think about last year, I think about I have the mental image of teetering over a precipice with, desperately trying to cling to something on the other end, and then being like, hey, let's go record a podcast. That's where we were last year. No.
Mentally, I'm there. I certainly don't have the conditions that you were in last December, but mentally, emotionally, I'm there.
Hell yeah, you are. I feel great.
It makes for good bits.
I'm here with my
piss take. God damn.
Atari 2600 Kroll cassette.
Was that a gift?
No, I purchased this. I was in Vermont earlier this year for a family wedding, and there was an antique mall and they had a bunch of Atari 2600 cartridges, and I purchased this Krull cartridge, which I definitely, I'm old enough to have had an Atari 2600 when it was a thing, and I definitely didn't have the Krull game.
That's very exciting. I'm happy for you. Do you have an Atari now?
No.
Oh.
But who doesn't love Krull? We've discussed Krull on this show?
I don't think so. Also, is Krull Pissnog's brother? Also,
I like that.
I gotta come back, Krollnog. I gotta come back to the thing that's been haunting me is discussing this movie. I know you're trying to move on from Pissnog, but Pissnog will not be
really
forgotten.
not. Yeah.
Is Pissnog a regular guy, or is everyone a human and he's a goblin and
It's
nobody
the latter.
acknowledges
It's 100%
Okay.
the latter. That's where I was going. What did you think?
Right. No, I was considering both options.
I think Pissnog, maybe part of the movie is Pissnog is wearing like a human suit. You know what I mean? And he's
Three
a little...
Pissnogs in a trench coat.
Now that's a good date. I think Pissnog is just a little, green goblin-y
Yeah.
thing. And then
He's hairy.
everybody else is a human. There's a version of this where he's like a puppet, like a Muppet style thing. I think he's CGI though.
As we'll mention in one of the clips that we'll play during this clip show, the puppet thing is played out.
Well, exactly. But maybe it's coming back. Is it so played out that it's time for a revival?
No, because I've seen multiple recent things do the puppet thing, and it's like, no, guys, this doesn't.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm just asking at some point in the not too distant future, the puppet thing is going to be cool again. It will go from stop it, it's played out to, oh shit, that's right, that was pretty cool. Right.
Yeah, we'll see. Mm-hmm. We'll see. I think that we'll see.
You disagree with me. You can
No, I don't disagree.
Publicly, you can't disagree with me, but offline, feel free to disagree with me.
No, I have no disagreements. I just,
Okay, great.
I felt my
otherwise,
brain.
just bad optics, right? Just bad optics. Otherwise.
My brain was wandering off into the forbidden zone of like stuff that I can't make jokes about because it's too real.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
I'm not doing that to
Too
save
real,
you.
like puppets. Great. Yes, to save me from editing hell.
Yeah, all the little Muppets in my brain they're going. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Well,
Pissnogs you will log.
Pissnogs your luck. I like it. And on that note, this is Late Night with Brian Wecht. This is our best of 2024 episode. At this pace, this is part 1 of our best of 2024 episode. And I think we're doing a two-parter again this year. Do we do it? I think we did a two-parter
I think
last
we
year.
do two-parters every year because
Pretty
just
much.
to get us through Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah, and it's fun, and we get to, that way we're not beholden to
Recording during
racing.
the holidays. Yeah.
Also that. And look, if fucking, well, honestly, one of the highlights of my year is listening to the Comedy Bang Bang best ofs. And those episodes are all like 3 fucking hours long, and they do 4 of them. It's like a truly, it is an investment.
See, but that's my favorite kind of thing. Now I get sad if I'm on YouTube and I pick a video and it's only like 40 minutes.
Oh,
I feel like this is half the reason that I watch interrogations because it's like 6 hours of content. I don't have to pick other content. It is on in the background. I'll go about my day as this murderer describes atrocities. That's normal.
yeah, that's podcasting, baby. Well, listen, you actually did a little more prep than I did for this,
once.
because I pay people to do prep for me. That's where I am in my life. By the way, you notice what I'm wearing here today? See what I'm wearing here? Look, huh?
Oh, is that a zip-up jacket?
No, it's a hoodie. See, there's a hood. This is a hoodie I wear frequently. It's from what used to be the Bomb Factory in Dallas and is now just the Factory, a venue that Ninja Sex Party is playing at in 2025.
Wow.
And
yes,
this is
I know many people we know have that same jacket.
That's right, because it is one of the, I guess, from what I'm led to believe, few like club venues of an appropriate size in Dallas. It's also way bigger than we can sell out. And even, at when NSP was selling the most tickets, we couldn't get close to selling that place out. Because it's
Wow.
like a 4,000 seat venue, and we've never been, we've played to that many people, but not as a regular stop on a national tour. Those are like
Right.
special dates. But yeah, this is my Bomb Factory, now the Factory hoodie, which I wear regularly, which you have, there's plenty of photographic evidence of. You can talk to, I've prepared some, I actually subpoenaed a few people, which turns out it doesn't mean what I thought it meant. So they're not happy right now. I subpoenaed all over them. That's my favorite face. Why does everyone I know keep making that face? It must be something wrong with other people.
Yeah, well, I'm always willing to admit when I'm wrong. And we received
same.
a lot of feedback on my comments on what constitutes a hoodie versus a jacket on the last episode, and I just want to say that I apologize for nothing.
Yet you got about as thoroughly owned as I've ever seen someone get owned on that Discord. I believe nobody agreed with you.
Literally nobody. And you know what? I'm fine with it. I don't need you to agree with me.
Now
I know in my heart that I'm right.
Was it Jimmy Carter who said he lusted in his heart? Isn't that right?
I don't know. For what?
I believe
Peanuts?
No, he was talking about how he never had an affair, but he lusted in his heart. I might be getting that wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Look, yeah,
Bro,
Google.
you couldn't waterboard that out of me.
Are you looking it up right now?
That is definitely not getting the things. Okay.
Wait, are you
Jimmy
just
Carter.
did you put Jimmy Carter lust and it was a bunch of like Jimmy Carter porn? Jimmy Harder?
No, of course not. I've looked on a lot of women with lust. I've committed adultery in my heart many times.
That's what I'm thinking of, yes. I mean, bro, same.
I'm committing adultery in my heart every day,
Yeah,
bro.
I'm doing it right now.
About piss nog?
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
Unexpected sex
Piss
symbols.
nog.
Piss
Here's the
nog.
thing about piss nog, and we should have said this before. Piss nog is a little hottie. Right.
Piss nog's a baddie.
Yeah. He's like really swole. Like the piss nog works out. And he hydrates constantly. And I don't need to tell you with what.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, piss nog is tiny, hairy, jacked,
Huge dick.
very horny.
Yes, very horny, like uncomfortably horny. He's not like uncool about it, right?
Yeah.
He's just
But he's a ladies' man.
He's a ladies' man.
ladies'
That's
goblin.
right. Yeah, that's right. He's young, dumb, and full of piss.
Great. Clips, save us.
I was telling my friend Rich yesterday. We were talking, and I explained to him
Our
that one
friend
of my
Rich or different Rich?
no different Rich. You don't know this Rich.
Wow, fuck this other Rich then.
Calm down. Because
I'm defending our Rich.
yeah, well, our Rich is the best. This other Rich is an old friend of mine, and I was telling him that one of my favorite things is when you say the words "so true" while looking off into the distance. So true. Yeah.
I'm not
All
going
right.
to do it.
Why don't you hit us with a clip here? What are we moving to first? These are clips that were chosen mostly by our community of wonderful people on our Discord, patreon.com/late night to get access to that. And we have a regular best of channel where people can put stuff in that they like from the year. And
Yeah.
they've been doing it all year. They do it all year. And yeah, this is what these clips are from.
So we have lots of options. Just going off of what catches my eye and feels like a good way to get into the vibe. Let's hear a little bit about Budget Margaret's.
All right. Well, now what? Okay. So what episode is this from?
This is from episode 231.
And was there when you set these up? Tell me, we're looking at the same thing. There's no guest on these, right?
Some of them have guests, some of them don't.
Okay. Great.
And
Can you give?
you know what? I want to say that I'm heartened by the fact that the lion's share of favorite moments from this year are all from solo episodes with just us two.
That is true. We, looking through these, this is a very us heavy thing, and I think that comes from the fact, actually, looking at the guests that we have on here. You can tell who we feel extremely comfortable with. Right?
Yes.
We've got Chris Grace. We've got Rachel. A bunch of other people. Like it's, these are the people
I
that
don't know
we
if we
can...
have a bunch of other people.
There are a few other people.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Wario.
Well, don't get me started on that little fuckboy. What? It's like the way I said it, the tone in which I used it, that was a compliment. And you have to admit that.
I'm not saying that it's the problem is that it's a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
Look,
Oh,
I'll
okay.
tolerate
That's
being
true.
horned up for Piss Nog, but I draw the line at Wario.
And Wario. Yeah. At least he can fuck, I guess. I don't know. We'll get into
Well,
that.
now we have to play that clip. Fuck budget Margaret.
Okay, fine. Yeah, you know what? I guess we're... Do I really want to say this? I was debating not saying it, but I'm going to say it. We're going to blow our pod right away at the top here. Do you understand what the joke I'm making? Layton, you're looking at me like you may not understand it, so I'm just going to really elaborate it here.
Rich, roll the clip. Roll the clip now. Roll it now. I think, how about we get into who falls into fucks?
Well, but we might have to repopulate once we know what the S tier is. Let's at least define the S tier here. I guess.
I think there are going to be certain special use cases here.
All right. I'm just going to go for the immediately obvious. Waluigi fucks. Everybody knows it.
Yes, I agree.
Right. Waluigi, of all the characters, has the biggest, like, kind of energy of all of them, right?
Yeah, you're correct. I think that's kind of hard to argue.
Yeah. Now, I would say by the same token. Now, okay, let's talk about Waluigi for a moment here.
Talk about him sexually for a moment?
Yeah. What is it about Waluigi that radiates fuck energy? Because this guy's got it.
He's got a bit of a Pete Davidson thing going on.
Oh, wow. Okay, sure.
What was it that I watched that had a really cringe?
I can see it.
Oh, yeah. In the new season of The Boys, there's a reference to somebody having Pete Davidson energy. And it's like, God, guys, what the fuck are we doing?
No, thank you. Yeah, that is a what the fuck are we doing if I've ever heard one.
I say this like I'm not anxiously awaiting the next episode of the show. It's not a good season, but I am enjoying it.
Look at that nose is what I would say.
Mm-hmm. And the chin.
The guy's got and the chin. The guy's got, what's the word I'm looking for? He's got appendages.
Protuberances.
Yeah, indeed. He's got some stuff on his face that could be used for various purposes. So I think just looking at the guy, also, he's a bad boy, right? Like he's gonna, so to speak, get down in there. And I think, which is not necessarily a bad boy, those are different things, but he's gonna go for it in a really committed way.
Yes, I agree with you.
You're gonna spend the night with Waluigi, and you're gonna be very grateful you did.
Yeah, I think so. I think yes. You're not taking Waluigi home to meet your parents. That's
no. That is definitely true. No, he's not. He is. This is not a fuck, marry, kill list, because you're not going to marry that guy.
And I'm not saying it is, but I think in contrast, there's a certain level of tier where it's like fucks, but actually, you know what? No, here's what it is. Here's the difference. Fucks versus all caps makes love.
Okay, great. Is that below fucks?
I think makes love is below fucks.
Yeah, makes love. Oh, makes loves? No, makes love. Great. Love it.
And my immediate thought is Luigi makes love.
I would agree with that. Sure. Where
he's right there.
There he is. There he is. Okay, great. Yep.
Awesome.
I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's too nice, right?
Luigi, and I think this is not a dig on his sexual skill or prowess. It's just I think he cares. He's guy living in the shadow of a brother who's more popular. That's you got to make up for it somehow, and I think there's skill involved and care. He's
also, Luigi, too goofy to fuck, right?
You saying goofy people can't fuck?
No, I'm not. I'm saying in Luigi's particular case, I mean, nobody fucks harder than the Goof Man himself, Goofy. That guy, Goofy, fucks.
Yeah, have you seen his feet?
Everybody knows this. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fuck this tier list. We're doing Disney characters now.
Yeah. But Luigi has this like kind of goofball vibe that I think is a little too tender. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. He's great in the sack, but he doesn't fuck.
Yes, true.
Right. I think we can agree with this. Okay, great. Cool. We still need to define this S tier.
This is true.
Maybe we don't have it. I don't know. Maybe fucks is the highest, but you had an instinct that there was a tier higher than fucks here.
I do, because it's funny that you immediately beeline to Waluigi and not Wario. Here's the reason
it was
why.
A tough choice. Yeah.
Here's the reason I think that there's a tier above fucks. Wario has the same fuck energy as Waluigi, but if you want to come, you have to play a mini game, like a convoluted series of mini games to nut.
Like that.
And I like the jigsaw nature of Wario, the saw trap. You can't. That's
okay,
part of it. It's part of it.
Let's move him up here. I totally agree with that. So, how about makes you work for it?
This graphic is pretty great, honestly.
Yeah. Look at his. You know, it didn't occur to me until you said it, but now that's really got me. Yeah, look at his little face there. Oh yeah, he makes you work for it, all right. I like that a lot. Yeah.
You have to play a series of games, including blowing into your Nintendo DS microphone for it to make it happen.
A lot. Yeah. I think that's totally right. He definitely fucks, but he has conditions, right?
Terms and conditions may apply.
He's got another thing I would say about Wario is he's got a room for it.
Yes, yeah. If we had a list of like what characters on this list have sex dungeons, Wario top. And I think a difference would be that Bowser also does, and no one has ever or will ever have sex in it.
I think that's very true. Okay, where are we with Bowser? So we're gonna wait. Is that the same?
No. It is not the same as makes you work for it. The implicit.
I'm gonna need you to calm down, Layton. I'm gonna need you to back off for just a second here. I realize this is important, but please just restrain yourself, much like Wario would restrain you while fucking.
Yeah, you got to make sure that Wii remote is strapped on tight.
Yeah, you should see his Joy-Con.
All right. No, but I think the implicit thing in the makes you work for it tier with Wario being ahead of Waluigi in the fucks tier is that, you know, the implication is that in working for it, you're getting a better experience. It's like you just need to be present and there for it. Bowser's sex dungeon, nobody's going in there except for his right claw.
So is he in the bottom tier, Bowser?
Does not, has not, and will never fuck. Because I think it would be really easy to be like, yeah, Bowser fucks, but I don't think so. I think
here's the thing I think about Bowser. Bowser says he fucks, but doesn't. Right? Bowser's the guy who's like, yeah, what a weekend, I fuck so much.
Yeah.
I went to the castle and I just fucked all night. But he was just home alone, right?
Yes.
So I think I agree. Bowser talks a big game, but he can't get anything done. Famously in the games, he can't get anything done. I think Bowser is in the bottom tier, does not, has not, and will never fuck. Was making a joke on blow our
for the love of God.
Wad. Okay. Wad, which rhymes with pod, which is interesting because wad is spelled W-A-D and pod is P-O-D. So you wouldn't think those vowel sounds would be the same, but English is a messy little bitch, and it is.
I mean, I won't disagree with you there. That one was from episode 227, which was our Who Smashes Bros episode.
Now, for me, I think this clip was, when I think about this year, this is the first thing I think of. I think this was a very funny episode with a really good gimmick. We don't have too many gimmick episodes like this. We've been debating doing more, like the Stephen King one we did. We keep talking. This episode was so fun that we keep thinking about doing more tier lists, and I just don't think we're going to top how Nintendo characters fuck. And what I like about this episode is I feel like we both learned something from doing
about each other, about ourselves,
and about Wario's sexual peccadillos.
I love that word. Underused word.
I totally agree with you. I love this episode. I think this clip is so funny. I actually watched the videos we got from it and put on our socials several times because I think they have it's really peak this podcast.
Yeah, very much so. And I think that this year we've really come into our own more in terms of going all out on gimmick. Because
speaking about
looking at this,
coming into our own and going all out. By the way, it's such a cop-out to make that as a joke, saying, speaking of thing, it's a way of acknowledging that there's a funny thing to be said, but not actually saying anything funny, which is my entire deal. I sense a joke opportunity, but I'm not smart enough to make it.
I choose to not listen to or parse that criticism of me.
I was talking about myself.
Oh, well, I do it constantly, so... Speaking of Brian hurting my feelings,
I love this episode. It was so funny. And I'm reluctant to listen to myself talk about stuff and be like, that was really funny, but I think this is really funny.
Excellent. So that was a clip. Brian, how about you introduce a clip?
Okay. Well, the question is, what do we want to do here? You know what? I feel like because I set it up this way, I feel like it's the right time to talk about fan fiction. And there was I think a really high point for fan fiction this year. Now, one of the I have to give you credit for this because you are the one who suggested we read a shitty book and tear it to pieces. And you specifically wanted to do Angels and Demons, right? Or you wanted to do Da Vinci Code and we changed it. What was it?
It combines my two favorite things, reading books and being a hater. So I think that the formula really worked out, and I'll admit that those are my favorite episodes of this year, are all of our bad book clubs.
Yeah, there's some really, really good ones in there, and it was totally your idea. Is the point here? Is your idea to like read a shitty book and then talk about it? And
nobody's ever done that before until we did it. Actually,
no, I know. We decided we saw what they call a gap in the marketplace, which was a podcast where people talk about stuff that they may not entirely like, right? Mm-hmm. So we wanted to start with a good one, and you are a Dan Brown super fan, having
I'm a real Brown noser.
Yeah, that's right. You're part of Team Brown, and the one you suggested, Da Vinci Code, I thought it'd be more fun to do Angels and Demons because it has the physics thing. Now I'm remembering this. And we read it, and it inspired us to write our own Dan Brown-esque works. Now, I have to say, you absolutely, if there were a victor in this, it wouldn't be me. Because I kind of started something. You absolutely crushed this. And
thank you. Did I do one for Angels and Demons?
Isn't that what this is? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. No, I'm thinking of the Ready Player one that you did.
But you wrote the one for
do something, didn't you?
Angels and Demons. It says Leighton and Brian's
This is what happens when we don't
fanfics.
listen to the clips ahead of time.
Well,
yeah,
listener, you're going to have to find out for yourself what actually happens on these clips, because we're not listening to them.
You did do one. You absolutely did do one for this. It wasn't as involved as your Ready Player One one, but it was a fan fiction. Don't you remember you had a hot protagonist, right? Or
you're describing the Ready Player One, but prepare for me to be wrong.
Okay. Well, anyway, I believe we wrote some fan fictions. Who has time to listen to these clips? Not us. But this is from...
But you do, listener. Enjoy.
But you do. This is from episode 210, part 2 of Angels and Demons. This is called, now how would you pronounce this word, Leighton? You are a demon. You are a demon. And this is some of our fan fiction. This book is all about, look at how smart this book is. But it's not. It's like a D+ at best.
Yeah. I wrote this thing that I wanted to read to you because of how formulaic these are and how I have read many of them at this point. I did not include anything on this list that does not happen in literally all of them. So I'd like to present to you Dan Brown's patented formula for a barely comprehensible paperback thriller.
Great.
Step 1.
Do I hear a McSweeney's article?
Step 1. Open with a scene of a renowned scholar being murdered by a mysterious figure. Step 2. Enter hero who is so attractive and smart and attractive and who everyone wants to have sex with. 3. They are secreted away to a discreet location, probably in Europe, by a high-tech helicopter or plane. Step 4, grisly crime scene laden with cultic symbols only the hero or someone with a basic high school education can understand. Enter sexy female scientist who had a father-daughter type relationship with said murdered scholar and is distraught but sexy and calm about it. They solve puzzles that lead them on a highly dubious treasure hunt through badly researched and geographically nonsensical foreign locales. Oh no! They're pursued by either a faceless or racist stereotype assassin who has no name or characteristics beyond being evil and having black eyes. Shocking reveal that some fundamental element of the puzzle was actually about something else obvious the whole time. Someone ... dies! Step 10, probably another person dies. Step 11, there's a bomb or something's ticking down or something. Pressure, keep turning pages, don't slow down or you'll start to question this entire thing. Blah, 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 dubious art history, blah, blah, sexy scientist smolders sexily, Robert Langdon italics, half joke that isn't funny, blah, blah, 15-year-old edgelord atheist takes on religion. Step 13, very smart protagonists find themselves in a life-threatening situation that is eerily similar to a traumatic situation from their youth that they solve with smartness. Oh no, a trusted figure to the protagonist and or sexy scientist is revealed to be the mastermind behind the entire diabolical murder puzzle plot. Said formerly trusted figure gives a big monologue about their evil plan and is swiftly dispatched like a Pixar villain. Dan Brown, Robert Langdon, does a quip. The whole world is watching and simping for Robert Langdon, who once again has saved the day with signature down-to-earth good looks and denim blue jeans. Dan Brown, protagonist, is in a hotel room recuperating from their big adventure, and then the sexy scientist walks in and does really bad come-ons, and then they both make the cringiest flirtatious jokes of all time as someone hair smells like almonds, and it ends on the worst sentence in the English language as Dan Brown claims his rightfully earned sexual conquest. That's the 17 steps to writing a Dan Brown.
Did you just write this?
A couple of hours ago.
I think it's fantastic.
I was really mad about it.
I have a vague companion piece.
Yes, I think that you should. And then I think we wrap up this episode by reading the final pages of Angels and Demons, which I think we've been really been building up to.
That's 100% what I was going to
Great.
suggest. Now, this is just the beginning of something that probably won't go anywhere, but I was inspired to write it.
Will you tell us the title of it?
This is called The Devil's Variable, a Brian Wecht adventure. Chapter 1. Come in, shouted Brian Wecht, following the third insistent knock on his dressing room door. Brian never liked to be disturbed right before a show, since that was when he got his best research in theoretical physics done, with the pre-performance adrenaline coursing through his bloodstream. He could do routine mathematical calculations all day long, and frequently did. But it was always immediately prior to an arena show that he came up with his best ideas. The Wecht equation, the Wecht theorem, and even the Wecht proposal. Those had all come to him within a half hour before walking on stage, with the noise of the assembling crowd thrumming in the background. After a pause, the door suddenly opened. A slender, well-dressed young white woman was standing there. Her tight frame accenting her big, chunky glasses, which in turn accented both of her breasts. She had bright brown eyes, and a shock of brown dyed into her platinum brown hair. Her tight brown pants sat right below her tight brown lace top, and she sported 2 tight brown boots, one on each foot. Hello, Dr. Wecht, she said. My name is Desdemona Duncan. I'm sorry to interrupt you right before your show, but you come highly recommended, and I'm afraid this can't wait. Brian slowly got up, maintaining eye contact with Desdemona. Charmed, I'm sure, he purred, reaching for her hand. That's all I got.
We were talking about this via text, and you made a really good,
Yes.
perfect Dan Brown joke about her last name being Duncan, like the donuts. What?
Oh, yes. Yeah. So what I have not yet written was her name, as I've spelled it here, is Dunkin. And at some point, Brian Wecht will say, oh, Duncan, like the donuts. And she'll say, I don't know what you're talking about.
Because she's so cultured
Yes.
and slender
Right.
and would never
But she's
touch
also-
a donut.
She's like a PhD computer scientist from Boston, but has never heard of Dunkin' Donuts.
That's even better. Because, if she liked Dunkin' Donuts, it would be important for you to introduce her. Wait first, as all women exist in Dan Brown's universe.
Yeah. She works at the MIT lab for discrete computer science. It has a joint appointment with MIT and Harvard.
I need a joint appointment after this shit.
Yeah. I think, well, knowing you had several joint appointments previously.
Well, that was a great clip.
Supposedly.
I
I should mark these off, which ones we've done.
You should. We might as well roll into another clip about fan fiction, which is this is the one that I did write, which is when we were reading Ready Player One. I wrote, "Press any button." It's a real love letter to.
Yeah. Now,
Ready
this is
Player One.
actually the one I was thinking of before, because you really did this was above and beyond.
This is the kind of thing that can only come out of me when fueled by total rage and disdain. And I think that good art really, really comes from that place. So here's me reading the overly involved
hold on.
fanfiction.
I want to set it up a little bit more first.
Sure, whatever. We have other clips from each of these book episodes that we'll talk about. So it's not like this is the definitive.
No, that's true, but it's the first time we're talking. I want to get it just a little bit into it. So we're
Hey, God.
now that kind of attitude I don't need right now. So listen, young lady, I'll turn this podcast around.
Nope, drawing a line.
You don't like that? Listen, young lady.
You're not giving me a listen, young lady, on my own pod.
I think I've never said to even my own daughter,
Exactly.
young lady.
Ugh.
My own daughter, who routinely now walks by me and just goes, "Bitch."
Good. She's doing the Lord's work.
Oh, it's so funny.
What else did you want to say to set up this clip, Brian?
All I
I'll
wanted
let
to say
you take
is
the
that
lead.
our second bad book that we read this year was Ready Player One by
Wasn't it
Ernest-
Breaking Dawn?
Oh my God. We did 3 books this year. You're right. Fuck.
Yep.
I can't remember the order now. But yes, another bad book. How about that? Since you're such a stickler for accuracy here. Another bad book. Can we say bad? We can say bad. We say it in the episode title. We read this year was Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, the prequel to Ready Player Two. And in this book, a young gunter named Parsifal goes on a rather erotic quest of self-discovery through the Oasis.
And becomes the best gunter in the world.
The best gunter in the world, just gunting everywhere, which we may talk about in a little bit. But yeah, so this is, you were so inspired by Ernest Cline's writing.
By hatred.
And you thought, if a master of the form like Ernest Cline can do this, surely I, Leighton Gray, can do this as well. Mm-hmm. And you, as they say, if you come for the king, you best not piss. And
very good.
Right?
Very good.
Yeah, thank you. And you is it fair to say
I
that
pissed.
you pissed all over the place, and it
All
is-
over Ernest Klein. He deserves it. So
Yeah. So this is your attempt to top what he accomplished in Ready Player
oh
One.
yeah, I topped Ernest Klein.
Hell yeah, you did.
And I'll roll the clip. I, after finishing this book last night, took it upon myself to write a loving homage to Ready Player One, but instead of all of the cool stuff that Halliday and Ernest Klein like, I replaced it with stuff that I like and I'm nostalgic for. The problem is that I wrote this and I wrote like 2,700 words of it.
You told me 2,000. You did not add the 700, which rounds up to 3,000.
Oh, sorry, it's 2,300. I was getting it confused
Okay.
with another thing. Folks, do you want to listen to this? I don't know how long.
Do.
I don't know how long this is
We
going
want
to
to listen
take.
to this. Just do it.
This is called Press Any Button by Leighton Gray. Part 1. And just like Ernest Klein, I'd like to start with a quote. Do you want to date my avatar? She's a star, and she's hotter than reality by far. Felicia Day, 2009. After I had easily dispatched all of the big ugly monsters that had descended on my avatar the moment I teleported to the planet Cyberpunkia, I took a deep breath and enjoyed the view. Dozens of replicas of CD Projekt Red's Night City sparkled on the horizon in the distance. With the high-tech upgrades I had made to my full-body gaming rig, the interior fans made the sweat I had accumulated from 16 hours straight of gaming in the simulation feel exactly like a cool sea breeze. My digital assistant took the form of Johnny Silverhand from Cyberpunk 2077, and he had all of the serious tood he did in the original game. But he was also programmed to do extra helpful tasks like answering my fan mail for me, laughing at all my jokes, and showering me with compliments on my curvaceous physique and gamer knowledge. I had him turned off for the time being because I couldn't let his digitally enhanced dump truck ass and constant sexual overtures distract me from the quest I was on. It was the only quest that mattered. The hunt for the ruby amulet created by the designer of Mirage herself, Schmaten Frey. Frey was the world's sexiest and richest and most famous game developer, and I was her most diehard fan. Everything she liked, I did too, which made me very cool and really good at solving the clues she had hidden all throughout the simulation before she died tragically young by choking on a strawberry Uncrustable that she tried to eat in one bite. Her will stipulated that the first gamer to prove themselves pure of heart and fat of ass by solving her series of devious clues that only the smartest gamers would understand would inherit her lavish fortune. I had dedicated my previous 5 years solely to molding my taste in media to hers, obsessively deep diving into the media properties she loved instead of developing her own personality. It was a pretty neat way to get around developing one of my own. And it turns out people like me way better when I just parrot phrases they also know with them, like when a dog sees another dog on TV. Because she grew up in the early 2000s, all popular culture was dedicated to endlessly regurgitating all of the stuff that made the naughty oddies so great, like low-rise jeans and war crimes. Returning to the game, I pulled out my lovingly crafted 3D version of the original Pip-Boy 2000s from Fallout 1 and 2, the most aesthetically pleasing Pip-Boy design in the Fallout series, Natch, which I had designated as my primary interface with Mirage. From the tiny screen on my wrist, I could pull up not only the in-game radio stations from each entry in the series, along with all the modded ones, but also every song and podcast ever recorded to jam to as I adventured across the land. Of course, my main playlist consisted of Radiohead's entire discography, and I knew each and every lyric by heart. I had listened to Creep alone over 450,000 times. This was a big reason why most of the avatars on Mirage wanted to have sex with me. I mean, my avatar. This is still going. We're not even. I stood on the bow of my tricked out ship, which I named the Stugats as a cheeky tip of the hat to one of Frey's favorite shows, The Sopranos. It was a treacherous journey to the mainland, but I had cast a magic spell on my ship that protected it from any harm and also made it fly and shoot lasers. With a flip of her long purple hair, my avatar entered her idle animation. Hips stuck out as she lit a huge cyberweed blunt coolly and blew smoke rings into the air. I watched from the rotating third-person vanity cam as I busied myself in my HUD, shuffling through my many new, unread messages from other players, because by this point, I was super popular and everyone liked me. No longer was I some level 1 nobody who couldn't even take out bokoblins by myself. A bokoblin is a kind of opponent, or enemy, as a gamer would call them, in the little-known Legend of Zelda video games. Just as a testament to the gaming knowledge that made me soar to the top of the charts in Mirage, I can tell you how only true gamers like me knew that the main character of the classic games is not, in fact, named Zelda. It was a really embarrassing when people got that wrong. A super easy way to find the noobs in the crowd, who everyone in the immediate area would murder instantly with their big, awesome anime swords, while the stupid noobs screamed for mercy. That was just a regular day for me in Mirage, which stands for the multiplayer immersive rage-fueled gaming experience. The rage part was a clever nod to the season's video gamers, one word, tendency to rage quit when emotions ran too high and commit violence against the console or PC on which they game, typically after being pwned. Me, I'd never rage quit in my life. Sure, I can get really upset at a game I'm playing, like when Alistair rejected me in the instant classic Dragon Age Origins 2009, just because I was playing as a Dalish elf and thus was punished for the aforementioned origin I chose at the beginning of the game, and then foolishly didn't choose a single dialogue choice in the middle of my campaign that would have saved me from this fate. You can imagine my frustration. Did the mechanical grinding our characters engaged in during low poly tent sex I prayed my parents wouldn't walk in on mean nothing to him? For a virgin like me, that was the closest I had ever gotten to feeling the touch of another human, and I only cried for a few hours. But still, I didn't quit. I might have gone on a very long, soul-searching walk after I was dumped by the most likable straight white man in gaming, and may or may not have punched a hole in the wall, but I didn't quit. That's for noobs, not a hardcore gamer girl like me. I trolled all the forums dedicated to Frey's interests and the hunt for the Ruby Amulet, and was a moderator on several of them. So naturally, I was revered as a god on the interwebs. My knowledge of the sacred text could fill multiple encyclopedias, and I had, in fact, written several that were published. And not like self-publishing on Mirages on either. Like actually for real published on paper. I got straight A's in school and also had a photographic memory that really came in handy on my adventures. But it didn't hurt that I was really smart too, and clever. As I said, I got straight A's in school. Usually when I came up with a particularly witty retort during arguments, people would actually stand up and clap as whoever tried to challenge my prodigious knowledge of David Lynch's oeuvre slunk away with their tails between their legs. Oftentimes literally, because for some reason Mirage had a lot of furries. Those furries and regular people all over the world were obsessed with the quest for the legendary Ruby Amulet. The dedicated people chasing after this prize needed a way to distinguish themselves, so they came up with the pithy nickname Rubbers. The people in the so-called real world who looked down on our enthusiasm used a nasty epithet for us instead, rubes. But if any of these posers stepped into the world of Mirage and tried to start shit, they would have their asses swiftly handed to them by an army of gamers ready to gun them down with their coolest, most badassest guns, of which I have many. IMHO. Gamer lingo you wouldn't understand. The real rubes were the ones who refused to engage in life's ultimate pleasure, sitting inside while you watch anime girls with fat asses running around hitting each other with swords. Also, God isn't real. So yes, it was tough being a part of the most oppressed class in our very real dystopia. But to true gamers like us, being a rubber was a badge of honor and way better than being a noob or a normie. Hanging out in Mirage with other rubbers was one of the few things that made my dull, boring, dangerous life outside of Mirage bearable, where at any second I could be attacked by drug-addled murderers. It was a blast just getting together in pitch-perfect Y2K replicas of Claire's and Hot Topics with like-minded gamers to watch movies, play Nintendogs for the Nintendo DS, open a million tabs of TV tropes, or argue about the riddles in the sacred texts. We even had an awesome code name for what we did together. Rubbing one out. It's pretty cool that we were the first ones to ever come up with that phrase, and we used it as a secret passcode to identify each other IRL. This is more lingo only real gamers will get. My ringtone for incoming calls in Mirage was a MIDI file of Justin Timberlake's Cry Me a River 2002. The exact same one Frey's mom had on her silver Razr flip phone when she was a kid in the early 2000s. The one proper decade where nothing bad ever happened and every piece of media that came out was solid gold because it came out when Frey was a kid, like Justin Timberlake's Cry Me a River. The sound file overlapped with itself infinitely as my auto screener filtered out the hundreds of potential suitors trying to video call me, all of whom were ruinously obsessed with my avatar. Some of them had custom shirts and everything. And who could blame them? I was at the top of the high score list, which made me better than the rest of the lowly rubbers who couldn't even get past Frey's first portal, which had been child's play for me, like the movie, which I also knew by heart. My avatar was everywhere since I had signed endorsement deals with all of the hottest companies that gamers love, like Cheetos and Raytheon. This also meant I was a millionaire because people saw me in ads everywhere, so they all knew who I was, and I was recognized and given high fives constantly. This gave me plenty of disposable income to spend on as much revealing armor and flying cars and awesome swords and Mirage as I wanted. My avatar was quickly taking the virtual world by storm. Did I mention that she's a wood elf who is also a vampire with glowing pink eyes, cybernetic enhancements, and just like an absolutely huge fucking rack? This is important to the story. In the real world, I was just a girl living in the attic of a family of 5, siphoning off of their network and also any food they left out in their trash can. I gaslit them into thinking the weird noises they sometimes heard from the attic was just a nest of rats. And boy... And boy, was I surprised when one day I found myself breathing in pesticides they were pumping into the attic with industrial fans. Breaking Bad reference. Mm-hmm. I think I only got some mild brain damage from that. And I also only got some mild brain damage from that. I didn't have to worry about it too much because shortly afterwards, the home I was living in was hit by a targeted drone strike sent by people who were jealous of my gaming skills that killed the entire family. It's a good thing I was actually 2 miles away. Casually toning out with some Built to Spill songs, like the really proggy live versions in Guitar Center, where all the old guys were complimenting me on my sick bass riffs and asking me how I got so good when I only started playing like 2 months ago. I'm just a natural, I guess. R.I.P. to the Smiths and their dog, though. To die by your side, indeed, right? Haha, that's just one of my little obscure references. Anyway. Mirage was super cool, and I spent all of my free time in it, trying to find the elusive ruby amulet that would make me the most powerful gamer in the world. But there was another competing tech conglomerate with their eyes on the ruby prize, Enhanced Virtual Interactive Life, or EVIL for short. Pronounced like Dr. Evil from the Austin Powers movies, Goldmember being the pinnacle of early 2000s comedy, of course. Their CEO was a scary and ugly-looking man in a pinstripe suit and Italian mafioso hat and big cigar, like characters in David Chase's hit HBO drama The Sopranos, starring James Gandolfini, Michael Imperioli, Edie Falco, Jamie Lynn Sigler, the smoking hot Lorraine Bracco, and Steven Van Zandt. Tony Sirico, Steve Sharippa, Vincent Pastore, Drea De Matteo, Robert Eiler, Steve Buscemi, and Lin-Manuel Miranda for 2 seconds, which I've watched front to back nearly 69 times. The evil CEO's name was Mr. Max Cruelty, and he was trying to kill me because I was too good at gaming in the Mirage. Max Cruelty wanted to find the ruby amulet for himself so he could take control of Mirage and turn it into a liberal hellscape where the only media you were allowed to consume was the Twilight books or movies, which are yucky and for girls. Not me, though, since I'm different. The end.
Wow. That was incredible. That might be the best thing we've ever done on this show.
Amazing.
A high point in literature. Now, would you ever consider...
Cliterature.
Well, comparative literature. We're going to get into that.
Mm-hmm. We will.
Would you ever consider actually writing this book?
No. I will write things as dumb bits, but I think that 1,500 words or whatever is probably the max I'm willing to commit to that particular bit.
I have to say, I love this piece. This year for our podcast, I believe, is the first time we have really done, like, for want of a better word, scripted things, right? I can't remember in the past. I'm sure we've done small things like this, but as many, like, pre-written bits that we deployed on the show.
And I'm thinking of one in particular that you did that was very impactful.
Well, yeah, indeed, we're going to get into that. I think that's the next one we should do here. Another really, really a thing that I'm going to hate to say it, particularly proud of this one because I think I should get into my headspace of where I was when I conceived. So the thing we're going to do now is this is from episode 232. No guest, again, just us, because I knew it had to be just us to do this.
Yes.
I wrote a list of my sexual activities and decided that I needed to shoehorn it into an episode as a funny thing. It was a very long list that my goal was to spring it on you and have you gradually realize what I was doing as I did it. And that is, I believe, what happened. As you can tell when you listen to this bit, at first you start to talk like we're doing our normal show. And then you realize, oh, something different, something a little left of center, like the opposite of my politics, is happening here.
Yeah. And as I say in the clip, I really, for probably way longer than I should have, I assumed it was completely off the dome, and that you had just gone into a fugue state.
Yeah, I wish, it's a few minutes long, probably something like that. I feel like I could do a bunch of that off the dome, but not as well and not as funny.
Yeah, not as well structured.
Structured. Talk about the shit hitting the fan. Get it? Struck turd.
Yeah, I get it.
That's the kind of stuff that happens when I do it off the dome, right? It's not exactly comedy gold, but when I have time to plan it out, it can be very good. So this is from episode 232. This is my list of things that I'm into sexually. Generally I'm kind of a explorer of experience. I like to kind of transcend the boundaries between pleasure and pain from a trans-dimensional standpoint.
Oh, you know what? This reminds me.
About?
Do you want to talk about the emails that we keep getting?
I do, but I'd like to talk more about my sexual predilections first.
They're going to send you that. This is why they're sending the emails.
They might be. They might be. I don't know, because I'm actually, I don't think people know this about me, but I'm into some pretty weird shit. I mean, it's not actually that weird. It's like normal stuff, like mirror play, reverse edging, dongle play.
What's reverse edging?
Cuckolding, old cucking.
I'm dying to know what reverse edging is.
BDILYSM. It's dominance, like dominant sevenths. Erotic asphyxiations. Foot stuff. Inch stuff. Yard stuff. Just kind of in general metric play. I'm pretty into humdingers. Cod swalloping. Gobsmacking. Hornswoggling. Absquatulation. Admonition. Something I like to call appreciative micturation. Scanner play. Online bill play. Manual nostril stimulation. Orgasm insurance. Pterodactyphilia. Brontophilia. Stegophilia. Sensual spelunking. Cultural panthropology. Comparative cliterature. Creative writhing. Bondage. Tauntondage. Unearthed arcana. Spell jamming. Freejacking. I love freejacking. Pogging. Morse play. Math play. One act play. Dough play. Yo play. Wonka play. Play. Consensual bad massage. Fly fishing. Hedging. Dredging. Ledging. Heath ledging. Smellatio. Grogging. Glee play. Google play. Apple CarPlay. Crosplay, and that's where you dress up like David Crosby and the other person dresses up like someone else from CSNY. Deezering. High butt pleasure. Non-diegetic nipple stimulation. Crafting. Fast travel. Story mode. Single player. Double player. Triple player. Multiplayer. Knee stuff. And vor. And that's the stuff I'm into. Among other things.
That is the best OkCupid profile I've ever heard.
Well, you wouldn't know it because nobody has responded to it. I think it's because I put my height as 5'1.5".
Brian, sometimes you just have to sit back and watch the master at work.
Well, that's actually one of my things as well.
Oh, wow. That honestly, like, I have nothing to say. That was impeccable. Just totally off the dome.
No, I worked on that for a while. I was in like waiting rooms and I was like, oh, that's fun. Yeah. Okay. I have to put that,
That's so great because I really thought I was watching like the hand of comedy god coming down to touch your brain.
I wish I could do that long. I honestly didn't take that long, but
Sure.
That's better than I could do just off the dome for sure.
No, I thought I was witnessing something that would go into a book of world records. Like,
well, then let's pretend it did. I did delete a couple because I was like, I can't say that.
oh, I need to know what didn't make the cut.
You know what? I'll tell you off air.
Oh,
Actually, you know what? I'll text it to you, and you can tell me.
Please, and I'll
you can tell me
react
if
to
you.
it.
Yes. Okay. All right. Text has been sent.
All right, I shall now wait for it. Yeah, that one's good.
Yeah.
It's very
But
good.
I'm not going to say it.
No. And people are just going to have to wonder what you're into.
Erotic ass pixie Haitians. I enjoyed that.
There was so much happening so fast. Like, there are a couple of those that really, really got me, and it's just going to have to be on the re-listen that I pick them out.
I was also very happy with BDILYSM. I thought that was pretty cute.
What is... Explain
Like
the joke.
ILYSM, I love you so much.
Oh, very good.
In the middle of BDSM. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like all good
Sure.
comedy, it requires a lengthy explanation.
What were we talking about before you just
I don't care.
schooled
I
all
don't
of us?
know.
Okay,
Yeah.
neither do I.
All right.
That was pretty good.
That was pretty good. That actually, so that did I play that for Rachel? That's a good question. I think I did. I usually play my favorite bits from the show for her because Lord knows she doesn't listen.
Yeah.
She hears enough of my bullshit as it is. The last person who needs to be subjected to, 90 to 120 minutes of me talking bullshit for, every week is my long suffering, and much deserving wife.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. By the way, expect she's going to text you, I think, at some point about, she said she's going to try to schedule another tea with you and
High
her.
tea.
High
Very
tea.
exciting.
Yeah. When you, and you know what I mean? High tea, like,
No. It's the kissy part that made that
Yeah.
even worse.
well, I guess that's right. It's not smoke. Why was I kissing my finger? But the thing
No,
that,
that's how you smoke weed.
mwah, huh, I love you, weed. Mwah. It makes,
Very
what is it?
Italian of you.
Yeah. I'm from New Jersey. What can you say? What's the name of the Tim Robinson character? The driver who has the thing painted on the window, and he pretends he's smoking the cigar. From,
I don't know.
God, what was it? The driving something.
There are a lot of driving sketches in that show.
There are a lot of driving sketches. So he pulls up to he's got, I think he's driving a friend home or something, and he pulls up to a stoplight and suddenly he starts making, blah, blah, yeah, things like that. And then it cuts to a side shot where on the window of the car is like a cigar and a hat or something. And it's part of a character he does when he pulls up next to people. Yeah. Now, I think I should do more of these.
I agree, but don't force it.
I would Leighton, who are you talking to here? I would never force comedy on somebody. A thing that I do to my child every day.
Yeah. Well, okay, this wasn't a pre-written bit, but I have to say one of your finest comedy moments this year.
Oh, I have no idea where this is going. Okay.
This was actually, I believe, not on a main feed episode, but it became a main feed episode because it was part of a two minis, if I recall correctly.
Okay.
But this is from episode 218. And the clip is just titled Brian's Art Appreciation.
Yes.
I thought this was a great moment from you.
What I got to say, my go-to thing is go to the local art museums. You know this about me.
I do.
Because I have the LACMA membership, and a lot of them I get in free because it's a reciprocity thing. But if not, if it's not on, it's not on the thing, but it's a dope local museum, I will go to it. And I've seen some really great art museums, some of which I've been to before, but some of which I haven't. So,
how many pieces of art have you jerked off in front of on this tour?
in front of mentally or in front of physically?
Physically. Mentally, you and I both know as patrons of the arts, that's a nigh constant. That's a
right.
baseline.
Well, let's just say nobody's caught me yet, because here's the thing. I'm fast. In every sense of the word. I get there quick and then I run away. And I'm prepared. That's the other thing.
That is really the ultimate MO of a serial masturbator.
Yep. You got to be prepared. Like you
Get
can't
in, get out.
You have to know. Here's the trick: is you have to know what the security guards look like, because they're different in every museum. So you can't just, and this is a rookie move, you can't just walk into a museum and find the first piece of art you see and start jerking off in front of it. That's going to be a disaster. Nobody's going to.
Mistake.
Absolutely. What you got to do is you go in the museum, you take a little stroll around. Also, you got to find the one that speaks to you, right? So you go in, you scope it out, you see what the security guards look like. Now, bear in mind, you're not looking for who the actual people are. You're looking for kind of the uniform they wear, right? So, because people will change. Somebody will be sitting in a room, you walk away from it, then it's a different person. They go through shifts. So if you're looking for a specific person, that can really bite you in the ass in the long run, right? So what you got to do is you look for the uniform, and then you wander around. You find the one that's going to be the one. You know what I'm talking about here,
Right?
and then you go for it. And the problem is you have to concentrate on the art at the same time as keeping peripheral vision is everything when it comes to this particular game.
Right. And it's disrespectful to the art if you're not paying like most of your attention.
Should be 90-10 split. 90 on the art, 10 on your peripheral vision, making sure you're not going to get caught. Now you need the supplies. I'm not going to tell people how to do their jobs, but is it a tissue? Is it a little cup? Is it
An
a pamphlet? I don't know.
apparatus.
Yeah, indeed. Those are harder to smuggle in, but I promise you it's worth it if you get the right one. And then
Gift
you
shops
go for
can
it.
be a great resource.
And listen, it does, it is a job. So if we're looking at more than 60 seconds, that's going to be a problem. And I know it's not always going to be a problem, but it will eventually be a problem. So you have to reliably go from 0 to 60 in 60. That's the rule of thumb that we say. As a public serial masturbator, you go 0 to 60 in 60. That's the way we know it. Look on the forums. Everybody says it. It's practically a mantra, okay? And then you got to get out. You got to get out of there because they do have cameras, right? There are a lot of things happening in art museums. This is also why you wear a mask. You should always bring some kind of mask or head covering because the museums talk amongst themselves, right?
Right.
So once one, especially in the same city, if you're in the same city and you're going to visit 2 museums in a day, it's better to do that fast, it's better doing the same day than space it out. Because
Boom,
once
boom.
one, yeah, that's
Before
right.
they even have time to think about it, you came and you went and you came and
That's
you also
exactly
went.
right. Yep. So, I mean, I hope these tips help people who are looking to get into this business. It is, it's risky, but it's worth it. You'll make some memories that last a lifetime is what I can promise you. And, if you need advice, I am a resource. I take my mentorship duties very, very seriously. So feel free to reach out on any of the public forums. Me, ArtJerk420, and you can just DM me any questions you have.
Bravo.
Thank you. So anyway, the Phoenix Art Museum was pretty great.
No, not because obviously legal culpability is a big thing in this hobby / business / industry. I don't want to ask you directly, but if you were to jerk it in the Phoenix Museum, which would you have chosen?
Well,
What
actually,
exhibit?
there
What
there
piece?
was. I wish I could remember the name of the artist. There was a whole a whole photography exhibit
Ooh.
of someone who was just taking pictures of herself and other women naked in the woods.
All right.
So,
That-
I mean, you gotta here's another tip. Take the same approach. You gotta let the art do some of the work for you, right? If you're, we all love abstract expressionism.
Mhm.
That's going to be a challenge. Like
Okay,
if you need to,
You're telling me you've never done it in front of a Rothko. A big angry red square doesn't turn you on.
oh, it definitely does.
All right, thank you. But not everything can be a Rothko.
Not everything, if you like.
I'm learning.
Here's a good
Brian.
example. Clifford Still. That's a challenge for me personally.
Right.
Giant canvases, big drippy blobs, and I know you'd think that's what you're creating with this, but no, it's not the same thing.
What's your stance on like Renaissance, like Christian Renaissance art?
What's my stance? Wide for that one.
Okay, yeah. I mean, there are variations involved.
Okay, bit over. Well, not bit because I don't do bits, but
It's not a bit. It's a lifestyle, Brian, and you should
it's
know
exactly. Yeah, well, it's a job at this point. I am sponsored.
that. By who?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Lee. So I'm sponsored by Dove Body Lotion. Unscented, of course.
Scented rookie mistake.
Yeah, you get a little cut and it's all over with scented. You gotta go unscented. Look, it's yes, it's just skin, but you gotta treat it right.
I mean, there was the one guy who got caught because the security guards like would smell the cherry blossom coming. Like you can't use Bath and Body Works lotion, guys.
No, that stuff's garbage anyway.
I mean, it seemed like it was a bit of like part of it for him was that it was kind of a calling card, but the point of the calling card is that it's there after you're gone, not as you're actively doing it.
Yeah, you don't. This is definitely one of those occupations where you don't want a signature scent. Now, that's not to say you can't leave a signature mark, but as you say, you don't want them to smell you coming, literally.
Yeah. What is it? Take only pictures, leave only jism.
Yeah, leave only tissues.
If I could physically get up without the use of my crutches, which are kind of halfway across the room right now, I would get up and leave. I'm stuck
That's
here.
a powerful statement.
Thank you. If I was physically able, I would walk away.
This is,
Not even from you, from me for enabling this. Hey, maybe would you like a carrot?
All right, that's that clip, and not having
You
heard
totally know what the clip is.
it, I have no idea what this is.
It's about you jerking off in art museums.
Oh yes, oh yes, that's right. Yeah. Now I remember. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, it's not just a hobby; it's also a lifestyle. I probably said something similar to that.
I think you might have said that verbatim.
Yeah. Well, what can I say? I have a style, I have a brand, and I'm sticking to it. All right, moving on. Now, there's one clip in this folder that I have, like, everything about this screams, you got to listen to this. And I'm referring to the one that is from episode 223, Breaking Dawn, which is simply labeled Vampire Sex.
What more
Now,
can be said?
Well, yeah, I think I know where this one is going. I think I remember talking about this. Is this what it would be like? Oh, this is where we talk about what it would be like to fuck a vampire, right?
Well, there's a certain sex scene in Breaking Dawn that I believe that we're discussing in this bit.
Yes. Okay, great. From episode 223, here's vampire sex.
The ways in which this book sucks are boring and embarrassing.
100% true. Yes, this was not fun to read.
The thing I was going to jump on is like, look, I know the vampires have powers. This family has been together for hundreds of years. They are all so obsessed with each other's sex lives and
Oh my God.
clothing.
Yes.
Bitch, I don't want my sister-in-law being like, did you guys destroy that entire house? Fucking.
Yeah, constantly. Yes.
Yeah.
Also, okay, let's talk about the fucking. Definitely, it would be hard to have less hot sex scenes, and because there aren't sex scenes.
No,
there
they're
are
fade to
sex scenes that
black.
are skipped around, and then So okay, the first time they fuck, she's still a human, and this was just insane to me from a character perspective. Edward's like, I'm scared. I might hurt you. She's like, don't worry about it. You'll be careful. Okay. Because Bella, by the way, the number one thing that bothered me about this book is there were no problems that weren't immediately solved through the easiest means possible. And the easiest means possible was like, it wasn't a problem for her because she's special, because she's amazing.
Yes.
Every potential problem is then just solved by, well, I guess she's kind of the best, right?
Or all problems are completely arbitrary. So much of the conflict, and it's the same in the other ones too. It's just like these two characters hate each other because question mark.
Yep.
So much of it is about, like, especially in the first book and throughout the whole thing, Edward does this overprotective thing where he's like, no, I might hurt you.
And he does that. So he does that here too before they fuck. She wants to fuck him once as a human okay, that seems like a valid reason. Like,
yeah,
I'm still human, so I can experience it as a human. I can understand that motivation. Sure. Now, I had to pick up, by the way, that vampires were like super strong and all this other stuff.
And run really fast, and their skin sparkles.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and their skin is like made out of stone or something.
Right.
So I can understand. I want to experience you once as a human before you turn me. Sure. You know what? You have eternity. By the way, what happens when the sun goes supernova? I'm curious about that, but whatever.
Footnote that for later, because we're going to come back to it.
So you have eternity to fuck as vampires. Give me one night as a human. Yeah, you know what? I'm on board. Sure. Sounds great. Then they fuck, and she emerges the next morning with bruises all over her body. And like gradually discovers it, and Edward is rightfully horrified because he has hurt the person he loves. And she was like, that was rad. Let's do it again. I was like, what the fuck is going? You, by all accounts, almost died because this guy fucks so good that he almost fucked you too good. Look, not to be the one to say this, but he could just stick it in a little bit, and then they fucked. And then it's like, you don't need to go nuts when one person has super strength and the other doesn't. Like, you can, there are other things you can do if you need to technically check that box. There are other things you can do that don't involve getting almost killed.
Yes. Yeah, I do agree with that. And it's the whole wedding and setup to the wedding. And of course, Bella's primary traits are that she's clumsy. She hates girly things, and she's just so
I didn't
upset.
pick up on the hates girly things at all. That was not present for me.
I mean, that's kind of like her whole, she's a tomboy, and she's like her single father's child.
Pick up on that.
And Jacob is like a mechanic, and hold on, I need my red lighting back. There we go.
Yeah.
And she's into that, and it's sexy because Jacob rides a motorcycle, if I remember the earlier books correctly. And she cooks her dad breakfast, and her dad's like a gruff guy. But in the build up to the wedding, where she's like, I'm really nervous, I don't want to see the dress, I don't want to see what like Alice is making me up as. Like, that is pretty tired. Like, fucking whatever. Okay. Just so irritating. I mean, Bella Swan is a classic Mary Sue self-insert character.
Obviously, yes.
The problem is that when you do a self-insert character like that, it is uninteresting if they are good and perfect at everything intrinsically.
Again, the one thing that I was shocked wasn't mentioned was what a great writer Bella is.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's a classic thing in the first Twilight book where she's saying, I was listening to music from my favorite band, but then doesn't say what the band is, which I do. You know what I appreciate? That this book is dedicated to the band Muse.
Bladen, I'm looking at it right now. That's one of my highlights right there.
Yeah, it was my very
Dedicated
first
to the
highlight.
band Muse.
And classic in the movie Twilight, Muse's supermassive black hole, which I can never not hear as supermassive asshole, is played during a fun baseball scene. The soundtrack for the movie is great. It's very of its time. Anyway.
Here's my main thing about this book. Everything, I have no sense of time. Everything happens so quickly. It just flits from one thing to the next. And there are no stakes or sense of development whatsoever. It's just like, I had no idea how long things were taking. It was the ultimate example of tell, don't show. It's like, it just, everything suddenly, it's like, there's a threat. Suddenly it's here. Suddenly it's solved. On to the next thing. And there's the one place where that's kind of not true is towards the end when the Voltari are going to show up and people dither on and on and on about how terrible this is going to be, except for taking hours-long fuck breaks in the cottage. So their lives are threatened. They have a new baby also, right, who's getting raised by question mark, the other Cullens, I guess, Jacob, I don't know. And they're like, pardon us, we're going to go fuck. And it is explicitly noted how they might all die. So they better take time to go fuck, which fine. Look, great. If you know you're going to die, go fuck. I don't care. But it seems like they are fucking for 10 hours a night or something like that while they're waiting for these other Italian vampires to show up.
What else?
That's right. They don't have to sleep. That's why Edward is so good at musical instruments and can speak all the languages and blah, 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 blah.
I think maybe okay, so we got to back up a little bit because immediately she's getting married like next day after being nervous about telling her father. Her father is cool with it.
Yeah.
They do the wedding. It's perfect, magical, whatever. They go to a honeymoon where she doesn't know where they're going.
Island. Yes.
To Fuck Island, where her sister-in-law has packed a ton of sexy lingerie for her. They get there, they fuck, she gets all bruised up, Edward, the room's covered in feathers because Edward was tearing pillows apart while fucking her, I guess.
You have to. No, trust me. You have to do that. That's just part of it.
To sate the urges. A vampire has instincts much like a dog having a prey drive, where if you give them a piece of toilet paper or tissue, they will tear it to shreds.
Look, if you put a pillow in front of me while I'm fucking, that pillow's gone. I mean, I'm going to tear it in half because the animal side of your brain just takes over. You have to. You can't control a man. That's for sure.
Yeah, so they do that while they're on Fuck Island. Bella discovers that she's pregnant.
The first time they fuck, she's pregnant. They didn't use protection because why would they, I guess?
I mean, it does bring up, I remember this being the big argument at the time of like, well, if they don't have blood flowing through their body, like how can you even get it up? And it's like, we're establishing that they're hard as rock everywhere else.
Oh, that's a good point.
So I guess is he just permanently rock hard?
How do you get a bone? Okay. Now this is a good question.
Right?
How do you get a bone? No, but you could argue this for everything. Like, how does anything in your body work?
Yeah.
If suddenly you're not breathing, you don't have blood, all the normal shit isn't happening. I don't know. The boner thing is the least of my worries in terms of plausibility.
He is so worried about hurting her, and yet neither of them think about protection.
Yeah, and what's going to happen? Okay, the other thing that becomes clear later in the book is there is a super ban on vampire children. Right, on immortal babies or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
Is this from the other books or did they just mention this in this one?
I forget. I think the newborn vampire thing that they keep referring to is in one of the other books.
Okay. So there's a super ban on vampire babies. Nobody thinks, including the guy who doesn't sleep and has nothing but time to think about stuff. Nobody thinks, hey, if we fuck, she might get pregnant. Now, okay. I mean, it's like also, if they don't have blood, that guy got jizz? Does he have little fangy sperms flying around? I don't know. I guess so. It must be something like
fluid?
that.
Where is the fluid?
Wow. What a bit.
We really learned a lot from that one.
I think we did. What do you think that bit was about?
I think that bit was about the meaning of Christmas.
Which we've already established.
Yeah. The meaning of
Christmas.
Christmas is that, but also vampire sex.
Yeah. This is Bella and Edward getting down to it, right? Before she's a vampire, though, right?
Right, because he doesn't want to hurt her. Are we just recapping the clip that we didn't listen to?
I'm trying
that
to remember
everyone just
what it's
heard?
about. That's yeah. You know how it goes. And he's being extra gentle, right? But she still gets bruised.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you remind me, you read this when you were a child? Or some
I
version of this?
read a few of them when I was a child, but like from the perspective of a hater. I had never read Breaking Dawn until now. I'd seen the movies.
That's right. Now
but,
I'm remembering this.
yeah, kind of impossible to avoid for a while there.
Are there sex scenes in the other books?
No, I don't think so. For the exact reasons that he's so nervous about hurting her.
Well, this is what I was going to ask, right? So, and it takes them a while to like get together anyway, right?
Yeah. There's a will they, won't they, and
With her and Jacob.
yeah, and then they do. And she's the most powerful of the bad books that we read this year. That one was the hardest to like physically read.
Absolutely, by 1,000,000%. I said many times, I don't think Ready Player One is good. I had a great time reading it. Angels and Demons, harder for me to read than Ready Player One, but still fun. A real page turner. Breaking Dawn was a fucking slog, and I can't think of a single thing I liked about it, honestly.
I was going like 75 miles per hour through the last 50 pages or something. I mean, it was a chore to have to pick it up.
Yeah.
Pick up my phone to read it. It's just not good.
Yeah. Well, I read it on one of my many, many iPads. It's Minority Report style, where I surround myself. I have about 12 of them, and I've got different books on each one, and I'm like Tom Cruising.
You're beautiful minding it.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
I think that the next time that we do a bad book club, we should be even meaner about the people who wrote them.
Is that possible? We were pretty mean to Stephanie Meyer.
I don't think we were that mean. I think we were meaner to Ernest Cline and also to Dan Brown.
I guess that's true.
This
I do
tendency of ours has certainly alienated certain listeners.
I love punching down. What can I say?
Yeah. Do you love Punching Brown?
Now that is a good name for a Dan Brown hater podcast, Punching Brown.
I think we should do another edition of Punching Brown. There's so many other Dan Brown books that I want you to read. I really want us to read Deception Point,
right?
Which is what he clucked ruefully from, as we discussed.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, we can do that. Okay, should that be the next one we do? I feel like I want to do another one by an author we haven't read yet. Yeah.
Were we talking about doing the Cider House rules?
Oh, that's an interesting one.
The Cider House sucks.
Yep. That would be an interesting one.
See, I would do book episodes as frequently as the audience would let us, because I love that.
Now, here's a question. Does it always have to be fiction? What if it's like a bad biography or autobiography?
That's true. But I feel like the ones that we would have to go for would be like uber topical, and that's just not really.
It seems less fun, right? To do a nonfiction. Yeah.
Yes, I'd rather personally attack the author of a work of fiction rather than attack them for their.
Well, exactly. That's exactly what I mean. Well, I know people have said this too. There's a whole thread about this, and I just can't remember what any of the options are. What about if we found a really bad novelization of a movie? Like The Godfather.
Well, you know that The Godfather is, yeah.
Yeah, I was kidding. Yes.
All right. Well, since we're talking about this, we should throw up some of these other clips because I would say that most of these clips in this folder are from our Bad Book Club episodes.
Yeah, why don't you? Let's see. What do we got here? Maybe a couple. Any quickies? Here's a really short one from Or Your Demon. This is the Cindy Crawford thing.
Sure. Yes.
Great. Okay, everybody listen to this. I don't even know what it is, but here it is. Yeah.
I need to find the Velvet Whirlwind quote because that one is maybe the worst offender. No, that's not true. Langdon is he's in a crypt or whatever the fuck. Skeletons by firelight, he grimaced wryly.
Oh, hold on.
First of all.
Skeletons by Firelight is my new Halloween single that's dropping in 3 months.
Just first of all, grimaced wryly. Brian, can you grimace wryly? Okay. All right. Fair.
Wait, well, actually, let me think. What is a... No.
Because when I think of a grimace, if I'm thinking of a grimace, I'm thinking like teeth bared. Like,
Okay.
That's a grimace?
I don't
But
know.
Riley, that's not
Yeah.
even a joke. Think about why Dan Brown would have written this passage. And if you can give me a reason other than because it made him feel clever, I will give you $10. I don't mean that, but a rhetorical, have it on faith as characters in this book are oft encouraged to do. Anyway. Skeletons by Firelight, he grimaced wryly, realizing he had quite coincidentally endured a similar evening just last month, an evening of bones and flames. The New York Museum of Archaeology's
I wouldn't
candlelight
mind one of
benefit.
those, am I right?
The New York Museum of Archaeology's candlelight benefit.
Oh, yes,
dinner.
yes. I know exactly the passage you're talking about. I had this as
Salmon
well.
flambe in the shadow of a Brontosaurus skeleton. He had
Oh, what's her
attended
name?
at the invitation of
Rebecca?
Rebecca Strauss, one-time fashion model, now art critic from the Times. A whirlwind of black velvet, cigarettes, and not so subtly enhanced breasts. She'd called him twice since. Langdon had not returned her calls. Most ungentlemanly, he chided, wondering how long Rebecca Strauss would last in a stink pit like this. How many negs was he able to fit into that paragraph?
Yeah.
One-time
Dan Brown.
fashion model.
Yeah. Oh, Dan Brown, said Cindy Crawford. You're the sexiest person I've ever seen. Here's my number. I might call, said Dan Brown, if I have time. By the way, I know I sent this to you. The Stephen Fry quote about Dan Brown.
Yeah, please read it.
He called Dan Brown's writings, quote, complete loose stool water and arse gravy of the worst kind. Shout out to my friend and yours, Chris, who listens to the show, who you have talked to on the phone. And he alerted me to this Stephen Fry quote. All right, now I have a question for you. And maybe this is me being dumb. The I can be your angle or your demon meme. Is Aaron in the original one of that? Or
I
is
think
there
he
just
is,
a
yeah.
version with him?
No, I'm pretty sure that it originally was Aaron.
That's fucking fantastic.
Yeah. Hold on. I let me fact check.
I got served on my favorite social media site, Facebook, the other day, which I frequent all the time. I get served. Actually, the shit I get served on Facebook is more objectionable and stupid than any other site, which is probably not super surprising. I get a lot of music theory for people who seemingly don't know music theory, which is like, what's a major triad? Here it is. As discussed on the show, I get served a lot of bad math memes. I constantly get served this one thing, which is like some movie appreciation thing, which is just lengthy happy birthday wishes to whatever celebrity or movie related person was born on that day. And they're always, sometimes they're big names. Usually it's some rando character actor, which I love rando character actors, but it's like 4 paragraphs of some story about them on set. Where was I going with this? Now I can't remember.
Facebook.
I was talking about Facebook, wasn't I? Why?
Character
Oh, that's
actors?
right. So I got served something from, I believe, Game Rant, which was a quote by Aaron with a picture of him.
What was the quote?
It was something like, sometimes you just got to say fuck it, or something like that.
Oh, sometimes you got to say, draw a line in the sand.
That's what it is.
What I'm
Yeah.
willing to put up with today.
Yeah,
I'm not
that-
fucking this.
That's what it was.
Aaron is not the original I can be your angle or your devil, but I think the first misspelling of the your and also the wider proliferation of it is the one with Aaron.
Is that from Know Your Meme?
Yes.
Great.
What are we doing?
Well, I think honestly we have enough. You know, I
one?
think this is a good ending. Do we have one more clip? Why don't we throw some, much like me at the club? Why don't we throw some shorties in here? We're gonna play a few. What?
No, take it away.
We're gonna play a few like little moments from various episodes throughout the year. I'm just gonna kind of tee these up real fast with some of our favorite guests from the year. Here's one from episode 214 featuring one of our favorite guests of all time, Chris Grace, the amazing Chris
best.
Grace, who is having a really great year with his special and all sorts of appearances and stuff. The guy's just crushing it recently. And it's so fun to see him, you know, basically blowing up right now. So here's a little moment from our episode 214 with Chris Grace.
I feel like as somebody with really bad anxiety and a long history of panic attacks, a panic attack is always, I'm dying right now. And they're like mini bosses for actually dying. And I think the true triumph would be actually dying and being like, oh, those panic attacks weren't so bad. I didn't need to have all those. This is fine. Like, that's the goal.
I think almost 100% that's what's going to happen. I've like been right there when someone died, and I've been nearby to other people like close to when they were dying.
Same.
And wait, was it the same person?
I didn't look up. No, it might have been.
Brian and I, we were both EMTs.
Brian rapidly running away from the scene of the crime.
Yeah. Well, look, like, you don't want them to catch you. That's less fun.
Yeah. But my hunch is actually that like there's a lot of worry about it that at the end you're just like, oh, what was all that
Which
for?
is honestly true about most things, I think. Like, at least the stuff I chronically worry about, I often find, and I know this is the classic thing, it's like, oh, that actually, I got through that fine. That wasn't the worst thing that ever. Why did I fucking worry about it so much? It happened and it wasn't too bad.
There's like an unhinged relief to that sometimes when it happens. Like when I did that, you know, for the Witching Hour show, I did a VJ set. Technically, a disaster. Everyone was like, "No, you did fine," but it was worst case scenario for me. And the moment that I got off the stage, I was like, "Oh, fucking hell yeah! I'm in such a good mood. I've been like worrying about this for a whole month. Worst thing possible happened, and it's over. I don't give a fuck. Nobody has to apologize to me. I am chill."
In that case, the worst thing possible was what? Stuff just not working?
Yeah, stuff just not working. I was also VJing to my desktop for a full 60 seconds before I realized.
You can say vagina. That's fine.
Wait.
Another shorty here. Now, many of you may not know that I am actually a married man. It's true. I've been married for 17 years, for 12 years, for 6 years, and for 2 years. And we're going to go for the 17-year wife here. Her name is Rachel. And she's very supportive and doesn't ask a lot of questions, which makes it kind of a perfect relationship for me. And I wanted to do a newlywed game style thing. Ironic considering the length of time that we have been married, which maybe we even talked about on the show. It's more of an oldie wed thing.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. That's right. We're coming up on 20 years.
Crazy.
Right? Crazy. Will we make it that far? Who knows? I don't know. Why do I say stuff like
why do you do this?
I don't know, because I thought it would be funny, and
you're
it just
over here
not.
with a shovel just digging
Bits to
digging.
be cut. I'm not going to cut that. I just thought it would register as funny, but instead it just came across as mean.
Yeah.
So, well,
The
we
Brian
are
Wecht
going to cut
story.
that. Yeah. Anyway, we wanted to do this newlywed thing, or I wanted to do it, and Rachel was very amenable to it. And we had a really nice moment there answering a question. Episode 215 with the one, the only Rachel Wecht.
So, Rachel, in your answer for yourself, what are you most likely to be arrested and tried for?
Murder.
Great.
Straight up murder. Yeah.
Wait, what did you just say?
Straight up murder.
I wrote straight up murder.
Yeah.
Ah! That's incredible.
That's the legal classification. Straight up
Straight
murder.
up murder.
That's amazing that you said
That's incredible, actually.
that. Yes.
More
All right.
successful
All right, now for-
than I could have possibly imagined. Brian, what would you be
I
arrested
can't
and tried
believe I wrote
for?
straight up murder. For me, I wrote my crime would be being too funny / talented / smart.
I thought you were gonna say like sick raps or something, but I didn't. I went honest again. I didn't do jokes, but I wrote
yeah.
vehicular manslaughter.
Ooh, good one. Yeah.
He wouldn't
I don't know why just the
mean
phrase vehicular manslaughter.
he wouldn't mean to kill someone, but you drive like a maniac.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
I do not.
You drive like a maniac.
I definitely do not. I drive like I'm from New Jersey.
Yeah, like a maniac.
I
Like a
drive, I'm a very safe driver.
Anyway, so
Straight up murder.
Great.
freedom. Yeah.
That was awesome.
But I've told Brian many times, and I think I've even told you this, Leighton. I said we should have a special savings account for me because if like if anything ever happened to my child, straight up murder.
That's exactly the context that I envision that happening is someone does something to Audrey. And even if it's just like they bump into her at the store, Rachel's like, this motherfucker's going down. Now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And they'd never see it coming.
No.
Okay.
What is true love but a secreted away legal fund?
I knew this would be a good idea. This episode is a good idea. What?
How often are people mispronouncing your name?
What do you think?
I don't know, like 1 out of every 5.
Yeah, pretty much. What's nice is
Wetched.
so it's usually wetched when people say it wrong. Sometimes they say white because they're just reading fast.
Brian White.
Brian White, right?
Late at night with Brian White.
Well, that's pretty good actually. When I lived in Europe, I would get a lot of vecht. So,
Okay,
which is not
badass,
the way I
though.
said it, but it's better actually, closer probably to the original.
Makes you sound like a vampire.
Yes, indeed. Especially when I would be in Germany, when I was in Germany, which is it's a German-looking word. It is not German as far as I understand it, but it's a German-looking word, and they would call me like Herr Dr. Vecht, which is fucking awesome, right?
Huh.
I always wished. Have I talked about this on the show? I always wished I had like double PhDs.
You wanted double doctor?
Yeah, so I could be double doctor.
Yeah, we talked about
Dr. Vecht. But in the U.S., people get the W part, right? They say W instead of V. And they mispronounce the CH. Which,
Wucked.
yeah, wucked.
Brian defucked.
The fuck. Yeah, the people will often say wetched, and I just don't even, unless it's like for a thing where I'm being introduced, there's no point in correcting them. Because there also are I have a friend who has the last name Precht, and she pronounces it Precht.
Oh.
Right. So, I mean, it's some, Americanized pronunciation of whatever. So it's not crazy to think that it's wetched. It looks like wetched.
It's like when I get called Leighton, where it's like, okay, I see the vision.
But that's nuts. Leighton?
I know, but I've heard
Nobody
it
says
enough times
Leighton.
over. No, but like the name Lee is a little bit more common, so I think they
Yeah,
see
but Leighton is a
Leighton.
common
No,
common
it's
enough
not.
name. Yes, it is.
No, it's not. Have you met any other Leightons?
There's famous Leighton Meester.
Meester,
right?
I know, and
Right,
I've met
yeah.
her.
Yeah. And did you guys have a Leighton off?
Yeah. I don't want to talk about it.
Only one survived.
Yeah.
So I think it would be fun actually to be in a married couple with the same surname, but you pronounce it different ways.
Would that be
Right.
fun?
I mean, it's my definition of fun, which is it's a
Yeah.
thing I would constantly be talking about.
Mutually antagonistic.
Yeah. Speaking of that, let's see. Here's another shorty from two guests I was very excited to have on today. Very excited to have on Jeff and Jason from 108.9 The Hawk. Jeff Garlock from, of course, What's That From, who's been on the show once before, right, with Nate. And these guys, I love their show. They're both very funny, and I was excited that they agreed to come on. This is just a little story with those guys. I think where I'm mostly telling it, but at least that's they were in this episode.
Let's play more clips where guests are on, but actually it's just Brian talking.
Yes. I have raised somebody in my own image, which is impossible. She never takes anything seriously. She's constantly trying to do little one-up bits. It's extremely annoying, and yet I have nobody to blame but myself. I know I told you this, Leighton. A couple months ago, we were playing Uno, and she was trash talking me and called me, and this is a quote, a sloppy middle-aged dude. And just to make people laugh. And my sister was visiting at the time, and it was one of the funniest things. She just comes out with these like just things all the time that are so funny. And I feel like by my nonstop doing of bits, I'm creating some kind of comedy super soldier, which I can only hope is true.
Do you
and my
think
wife
there's
is very
any
similar too.
Do you think there's any truth behind that though? That she kind of does think you're a sloppy middle-aged guy?
Oh, I think there's 100% truth behind it. Yeah. Oh no. Look, there's only
Like,
one
Dad,
word.
It's a joke, but
There's one word in that that's even up for debate. And I'm sure also, I mean, I just want to say Audrey's room is not exactly a paragon of cleanliness and order, but sloppy. Honestly, what I really loved about it is she picked, like, if she called me dumb, I'd be like, I know I'm not dumb. Or if she was like, you're ugly, I'd be like, oh, okay, I don't think so, but whatever. Sloppy hurts just enough. It is
my God.
laser targeted, and I would be lying if I wasn't like, wait, do people think I'm sloppy?
Yeah, it's a smart move.
Is that how I come across?
It's another way of saying slob.
Yeah, she found the word. She found the thing that was like, it's in there.
She's the snob and you're the slob. It's a classic slobs versus snob situation.
Right.
My favorite Disney cartoon.
It's a real Caddyshack. Okay, and with that, another best of episode draws to a close.
Yes.
Yes, that was, I'd say, a great episode.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. I think we peaked in the beginning, and the rest of it was just victory laps. But
there's a lot of stuff that we're going to end up cutting because I was feeling a little saucy, and I did my usual amount of, anti-woke stuff, and you insisted that we cut it because it wouldn't appeal to our fan base.
Right. And as we all know, everything we do in this show is to appeal to the fan base. Alienating the audience or subjecting the audience to certain comedy choices is just not in our wheelhouse. We just kind of roll over and do whatever the fans want.
That's right. That's why we're so massively popular.
That's why we are crushing it on the charts.
Yes.
On the Patreon. Genuinely, though, thank you for listening to this show.
That is, I do
not mean to be flippant about that, but it is our nature.
The show's doing great, for real. And what I like, honestly, the best part about the show, other than getting to record it with you, is the wonderful community of people that listen to it. Yeah, the wonderful people we see on the Discord and
on socials
and in real life. I've seen a bunch for my travels for Trey shows and stuff this year. I've seen a lot of pod people in real life, and it's wonderful to meet people who say, "Oh, I love the podcast." And actually, there are a bunch of it's even cooler. It's lovely to see people that now I know and now know in person from the Discord, but occasionally, and not that infrequently, there's someone who's like, "Oh, I love the show," and it's someone I don't know about or don't see their name. It's amazing.
And also an extra thank you to all the invisible listeners who don't engage with anything. Thank you. I'm that kind of listener to pods
too.
So you're out there, and I am blowing you a little kiss.
Yes, and I'm just blowing you.
All right. Well,
it's comedy, baby.
That's comedy, baby. And that's Late Night with Brian Wecht.
Yep. Part 2 coming next week.
Pisnog.
Late Night is produced by Brian Wecht and Leighton Gray. Sign up for our Patreon at patreon.com/LeightonNight Follow us on Twitter at @LaytonNight, on Instagram at @Layton_Night, or email us at laytonnight@gmail.com.